Welcome to the Porsche Club Insider, your one stop for all things Porsche and PCA. Here's your host, Vu Gwyn, and the Insider crew.
Welcome, everyone, to podcast 121. We are in Birmingham, Alabama. We are almost at the tail end of Porsche Parade, and we have Manny as well as Damon, and we have a special guest for you. You've seen him on Overhaulin. You may have seen him at Mecum Auctions. More recently, the Dream Collection on Mav TV. Welcome, Chris Jacobs.
Yeah.
What's up, brother?
Thanks for being here.
It's all good. Happy to be here.
So, where do we want to start? Why are you even here, Chris? Like
You can't keep me
you're
away.
you're Mr. Mopar, but here you are with us celebrating Porsche.
You know, Mopar is 1, but Porsche is 1A. So I've got just as much love for Porsche, and this week it seems like I've got more love for
I think
Porsche.
you're giving a challenge to the Porsche community here. If we're only 1A, I think you need to move up to 1.
But
you know,
what's funny is it's interesting how many people think you can only really like one
right.
brand.
Yeah, right?
Like
yeah.
we love all cars. Well, Manny's very Porsche focused, but I like all cars.
I realize other people have challenges and pick other cars. I appreciate other cars.
Porsche is the only European car that I like.
Oh,
So
there we go.
You know,
Okay.
it's my only brand in
And
the
if-
import market.
and if folks are wondering, like, are you just blowing smoke?
I'm not blowing smoke.
The fact is, there's one in your garage.
I've owned an 85 911 Targa for almost 20 years. I've owned it
wow.
in 2005.
Nice.
And I'm the second owner. And when I bought it, it had 80,000 miles on it, and now I've got about 120.
Nice.
So, you know,
Yeah.
I put
Drive
some
that
miles
thing.
on it.
Just
Yep.
breaking it in.
Yeah, exactly. As for a Porsche, it's barely broken in. I'm also a PCA member and have
are.
been for many, many years too. So yeah, I'm legit.
And second parade with us.
Second parade, first full parade. I got to the parade last year, I think a couple days in. But I got spoiled immediately last year because it was essentially a hometown parade for me in La Quinta, or Palm Springs, I guess is the official
Well, La Quinta was a resort.
title.
Yeah.
But which, by the way, is in the city of La Quinta. So,
That's good.
yeah.
I like the way.
just
We're
saying.
not locals. Technically. we heard La Quinta the first
Right.
time, and I thought it was that
I know
budget
people
hotel.
think Palm Springs is like the entire desert outside of LA, but it's actually about
The
8
further you
different
go east, I
cities.
found out people also think that Northern and Southern California are about 30 minutes apart.
Correct. They are not.
It's all one club.
No, you've got Palm Springs, you've got Palm Desert, you've got Rancho Mirage, you've got La Quinta, you've got Desert Hot Springs, you've got Coachella. So you've got a lot of different communities that make up the Palm Springs area. But calling it Palm Springs, I guess, narrows it down for people who don't know that. Point being, I was able to bring my car out there last year, which was a huge plus because I felt much more a part of it. And actually had the honor of leading the parade on Saturday up into the canyon, which was totally cool.
That was so.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I love the fact how we pretty much met at SEMA a couple of times, and then Manny and I started going to SEMA probably over a decade ago. And I've always admired your work with Chip and Overhaulin, and seeing you at SEMA, I really never knew how possibly you would even be part of our family. But we were hanging out with our friends at Mecum Auctions, so doing some behind-the-scenes stuff, and some Porsches were coming through, and you were like rattling stuff off, telling the crowd about the cars. I'm like, huh, well, look at him. and then you came looking for us.
Yeah, I tracked you guys
Yeah.
down because I was like, all right, I gotta meet my peeps here. And you guys were actually up on the auction block
That's
with
when
the auctioneers.
I got to do the hammer.
Yeah, you
was that
hammered
one?
for Paul Walker's car, right?
Paul Walker's
Yeah.
car. And if you haven't ever had the opportunity to do that, that is quite the pressure of how to do that properly. Have
Right.
you seen some people
Swing a hammer properly.
It really is. It's all about timing. It's all about the pressure, and don't accidentally like lose grip of the hammer.
It's like too soon.
Yeah.
There's another bit.
Add to it, Mecum, as like their traditional auction, they speak really fast.
Oh.
It's not like the other Gooding RM where it's very gentlemanly,
Right.
civilized. People talk at this length of speed. and you have time to think. There, it's like bang, 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 and
The energy level.
I've like had my hands under my armpits just to make sure that no one thinks I'm bidding.
Yeah, don't wave to your friends
Exactly.
at the auction. No, it's very high energy and very fast. They move them through at Mecum. You know, they're averaging a couple cars a minute.
You're not bored. I mean,
Yeah,
you're just
not
blinking
bored at
and
all.
Another car's up there.
And it's funny because, you know, when I'm out in the field, I have my ears in and I'm listening to the producers in the truck, and I'm also hearing the natural sounds of the auction, which is part of program, because I'm hearing Scott and John speaking on the dais. And so for 2 or 3 days after each auction, I'm hearing that.
Oh, I could see how that might.
Constant. That's a constant soundtrack
Wow.
for 6 hours a day in my ears.
But the
So-
funny thing, at that speed, you can still understand what they're saying.
yeah.
It's not like it's like I would be doing. You would like mumbling.
Sounds like mumble.
Oh,
There.
God.
Well,
Eddie,
it's-
please
it's like
don't.
a-
Please
it's like
don't.
a scat. So, you know, they're announcing the price and the price increases or the bid increases, and then in between is that patter, that cadence to keep it kind of moving forward and upbeat and energetic. So it's really interesting. I mean, they have contests. It's an art.
Yeah.
And they have contests, and a couple of our auctioneers at Mecum Auctions have actually won national awards for auctioneering. Yeah.
Well, since we're talking about Mecum Auctions, let's throw it out there to our listeners as a PCA insider that this year at Mecum Auctions in Monterey, we'll be offering something unique to PCA members. You want to kick that?
Yeah, it's going to be, I believe you're calling it the Corral.
Yeah.
So there'll be a great display of PCA Porsches there. And I know I'm not sure the details, so you might want to save.
Yeah. So we're going to have reserved parking for PCA members. It won't cost anything. You just have to register in advance. It will be limited, and you'll be able to show up early and see and have a walk around. Hopefully, you'll be free to maybe meet and greet some of our members, but some of the behind the scenes. You see the action going with the cars going across the block, but that's probably, to me, 10% of what's going on at the auction. To see what's literally like a DMV behind the stage, and the cars being staged, and all the people pushing and wiping and all that, like, we'll get to kind of get the behind the scenes tour. So stay tuned for that. We'll drop information on how you can sign up for that Corral tour at the Mecum Auctions in Monterey, probably by the time you hear this or shortly thereafter.
And Monterey is a great one because Porsche is always very, very well represented at Mecum Monterey.
Easy to get to too. It's right at the fairgrounds.
It's at
right
the
next to the Hyatt, right?
Right next
golf
to the
course, on the golf course
course,
next
okay.
to the Hyatt. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of parking.
Convention center there, and then behind is a golf course, and that's where we spread out.
Plenty of parking, and they have golf cart shuttles if you don't want to walk. So it's they want you there.
Yeah, and it's part of Car Week overall. So there's tons and tons of great Porsche-centric activities at Car Week. You know, there's Works Reunion. And, of course, if you have the privilege of going to the Quail, there's always some amazing Porsches present at the Quail, too.
We try to get in through the help entrance.
Right.
Carry a tray of food. They let us in.
Right.
Manny's figured that out. So from seeing you at Mecum, seeing you at SEMA, and then knowing that we were going to be in Palm Springs, you and I talked. Actually, you came out to Unstock as well.
Yes.
Later that year. But, like, man, what can we still do more with Chris? And you're such a natural on the microphone. We do have a coveted, long-time Porsche Parade MC, but you know, he's a volunteer, and he literally, as he lands into the parade city, he is on the clock until the week later.
He's amazing.
And that's Mark Shevitz. And we're like, man, what if we could bring you to kind of tag team and let I think he's been, 30 years?
Something like that.
30 years
At
on
least
the
10 since
microphone
I've been
at
working for
Parade,
PCA.
to kind of dial it back and finally enjoy the fruits of his labor, and you kind of ramp up to get to know PCA and its members and all of our awards programs. So
I love working with Mark.
you came out,
great.
right? You came out
He's a
to
pro.
Palm Springs, and here you are now.
Yep. So we did a couple nights with Mark last year, and AJ was with me also. And so we kind of joined Mark and gave some awards away. And so you guys were nice enough to invite me back this year full time. And I'm doing all the banquets with Mark. And, you know, just to give him a little backup and someone to bounce things off of. So like you say, he's not just up there by himself the entire time. And I really enjoy it. Mark does a great job. He's so knowledgeable. He knows so many of the members. He's got all of this stuff at his fingertips that he can just rely on. So I'm relying on his expertise to kind of be the guide, and I just follow along and throw in where I throw in and have a great time.
Speaking of throwing in, I liked your dad joke battle that you had the other night.
You know, well, first of all,
You go pretty deep in the dad jokes.
I'm a new dad, so I have to have my Rolodex of dad jokes. Yeah. But the first night, Tuesday night, which is the big one, the Concours banquet, Mark brought me up right after the "Who Have We Lost" section.
Oh, that was hilarious.
He's like, and also sadly, Joe Smith is no longer with us too. And now I'd like to bring up Chris Jacobs, and I was like,
did it occur to me? Did that? The whole room's down.
That is a good time to go. Like, hello, everybody.
Yes, on that note.
So I had to say a little something just to break the ice again and lighten the mood up a little bit. So, that was pretty funny.
So have you done or seen or been a part of anything like Porsche Parade? Is this completely new to you, or you've been to other car clubs? Or
haven't. Well, I mean, I'm a member of Road Kings in Burbank, but they don't have anything near this. They just have their annual show. And then they do meetings occasionally, and I'll go there once in a while and greet the members and things like that. But nothing, Porsche Club of America is the only car club that I'm a member of that's this big, that has this many regions across the country, that has this much passion. I mean, that's the thing that really impresses me about PCA is that people are so into it. They show up here at Porsche Parade just bursting with enthusiasm and love for the brand. And I've always said, and the models have obviously gotten, there's more models recently, with the introduction of the Boxster and the Cayman and the Macan and the Cayenne and now the Taycan. But it's really the root and heart of the brand is the 911 and the 356 also to a certain extent, but it's really the 911. And so it's very easy to kind of keep track, I think, of the brand. You look at Ferrari, they have 19 million different models, and it's just confusing. They're all beautiful. They all look kind of the same. Obviously the iconic ones stand out, the F40, the F50.
I can't remember their numbers. Like there used to be a numbering sequence.
Yeah.
Kind of stood for something, but now it's all over the place.
Right. And so, I just, something just drew me to 911s. When I was growing up, my dad had 911s. And so I was always kind of very familiar with them. So when I started looking for a Porsche, obviously it was going to be a 911. And my dad had Targas also, so I gravitated towards the Targa. And that's what I ended up getting. And, that was, like I said, 20 years ago. And it just, I'll never sell it, but it's essentially like my daughter's education on wheels.
Yeah.
Because
Backup.
what I bought it for versus what I could sell it for today.
Right.
It's the maybe one of two models or genres of cars that just keep increasing in value.
We're very fortunate about that.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, you can be, let's say, be more frugal and probably more sensible and just park your money in the bank, but what's the fun of that when you could park it into a black 911 Targa and take it on some runs?
Yeah.
But just know that is what you're doing,
right?
And to be careful with that.
Yeah, totally. And also, I mean, cars are meant to be driven. My car is not dear. It's not a trailer queen. It is parked in the garage all the time, but I mean, I am pulling it out all the time. I just had some work done to it that has been a long time coming. What I've wanted to do to it for a long time. I switched out the sugar scoops to H4s.
Very good.
And that may seem sacrilegious to some people because it's no longer totally stock, but the look, I love the look of the H4s
European
versus the
I don't
sugar
think anybody
scoops.
I don't think anyone. I mean, sugar scoops are some people are quite purist, and some people have, it should stay with the car, but it's your car. Do what you want. And the best thing about doing that mod is you could totally put it back in.
Exactly. It's like a wrap. You know what I mean? I still have the
H4s
sugar
look better
scoops.
anyway.
They look great. They're so cool.
Now we're going to get sugar scoop.
Sugar scoop lovers are gonna
the one that would trigger
you're gonna chirp exactly
when you update the HIDs on an older car or something where it changes the look.
But H4s are
H4s aren't good about.
Well, and also and Marco at TLG Auto in Sun Valley, which is just north of LA. If you know your good Porsche mechanics, Marco at TLG. He's a legend. He did the work on it, and they did the entire light system. So the gauge cluster, the headlights, the parking lamp, the tail lights, and the license plate lights. They're actually LED, but they don't have that bad like whitish, blue-white LED look. So it looks totally stock, but they're a little brighter. Yeah. And I was suffering from bright stock syndrome. Yeah. And so he fixed that. Right. And so right now it's all up and running. Both the fog lights work, everything. And so literally when I got the car back last week, I couldn't wait for it to get dark. When it did, I just parked it in the middle of my driveway and turned all the lights on and just walked around the car for about 5 minutes.
It'll be like that forever. Those LEDs will last.
Exactly.
You know, that's interesting you bring up that you did all the lights, because I think headlights totally separately from the rest of the car. But when you bring it up, if you just did the headlights and everything else is just the old dim lights, it would stick out like a sore thumb.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But it's important to have the right color temperature with the LEDs on the interior, because you don't want that super blue light.
I cannot stand LED. In fact, you can't buy, what do you call them? Halogen bulbs, I guess. In
the bi-xenons or something.
What are the old?
The original were halogen.
Yeah.
Halogen? Yeah.
Well, not
incandescent.
Incandescent. So like the house bulbs and stuff.
Yeah.
So I have to. I actually have my sister in Illinois order me light bulbs. And then she sends them to me, because you can't get them in California, and I refuse to put LED bulbs in my house.
Yeah.
Wow, don't fret. So
the light bulb cups are coming to my house now.
I'm going to save you here. So the LED bulbs that they offer at, say, Home Depot now, they actually have little sliders on them, and you can choose your color temperature.
Okay. So they're not going to be that white.
Right.
White, blue.
You could. It could be amber for all you want.
Okay.
Like it's you can select now. Because I used to be the same way.
Yeah.
Like in your bathroom, you want that blue,
white. Yeah.
Light. It doesn't look good. My skin doesn't look good under that.
Right.
Even on the light,
the color grading's off
in my bathroom. It's funny you say that, because I have those like antique bulbs. So they're even more kind of soft. Yellowish, brownish glow. Gives you that glow.
Who are listening, you did not switch channels. We're still not.
So we're going to bring it back around.
I'm thinking like a wood paneled den, cigar room or something.
Right. Shag carpet.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's bring it back to Porsche.
Let's bring it back.
So of your other events, I'm just curious. What we're very much proud about when you come to Porsche Parade is not only do you see our members and how fun they are and what they do, but Porsche AG and Porsche Cars North America, they are here also in full force. And I think you got to meet some of pretty famous people within the Porsche world.
People. I mean, Timo Resch, I spent some time with him, the returning CEO and president of Porsche, obviously Mark Porsche, who, by the way, is a huge muscle car fan. So when we get together, he wants to talk muscle cars, and I want to talk Porsches, and so we have to kind of give each other that latitude.
We should take him to Mecum.
Oh yeah, I told him. I said, if you come to Car Week, you got carte blanche at Mecum. I'll take you around. He'll have a blast. He kind of tends towards the Mustangs. He also has. Good man. I want to say he said he had a Challenger, but he's got a few. Yeah, and he's got a Trans Am also. But he's got these. He's got a couple.
I think
so
he pretty hard to saw on TV when he was younger from American shows.
Yeah.
He started listening at one time last year, and I'm like, these are all shows that had these cars. He must have watched a lot of American television, and this is what in his head now.
Yeah,
his new cars.
But he told me all about the foundation of the Flat Six Ranch, which just sounds so cool. Was his dad Bootsy Porsche's barn that they're turning into a museum, and they're going to have some very iconic, obviously, Porsche cars in there. So to get to know him was great, and then all the people from PCNA who I'd met at last year's parade, like Kathy Lee. I met Aisha this year. It was great. And Philip, who are in the marketing department. I think Aisha's the CMO, actually. So it was a pleasure to know them. It's it's heady stuff, because like this is my brand. I mean, I'm a Porsche guy. So to be able to meet and just hang out with these guys,
and we're just gonna keep playing it.
I'll say it again and again. I am a Porsche guy.
There we go.
I am a Mopar guy, and I'm a Porsche guy.
And we know Porsche listens to this podcast.
Yeah.
Scared me one time when they told me that. But you listen to the podcast.
I don't know why he didn't realize that.
Yeah, right.
One day when Porsche came up to him like, you almost said, he goes, you listened to them? Of course they listen.
Since they listen, I think Chris Jacobs would be the perfect MC for Rennsport 8.
Oh, yeah.
Just put it out there. I know it's a 4 year, a couple 4 years away, but just saying.
That's a
We
You
have
know what? I'm going to give that one to you.
we have the
That
North
is a
American
great
here,
idea.
California kid.
So watch it. You heard it here
Great
first.
idea.
Ready, willing, and able.
So, yeah, I think he'd be great to
Ready,
represent the
willing,
brand in the U.S. in an event that is a U.S. North American event.
I love it.
So, any folks here at Parade that didn't know your Porsche background and maybe do know you as your Mopar side, were they wondering what you're doing here?
Yeah, several times through the week, people have come up to me and said, "Hey, it's so great to have you here. You really kind of add something to Parade." And when I say to them, "Well, I'm actually a PCA member," they're like, "Oh, really?" And I'm a Porsche owner, like expecting me to say that I have a Macan or something.
Right.
So when I tell them I have an '85 Targa,
Legit.
that I get that I get that approving nod.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. So that feels good, and I'm glad to be. I feel legit knowing that I am a PCA member and a Porsche owner, especially an air-cooled Porsche. And I mean, it's that parking lot right across here is just heaven. I got here on Sunday and I'm looking across and just pretty much all you see is Porsches.
Yeah.
Because that's the most popular day and populous day. So I'm a kid in a candy store. I saw some stuff at last year's parade that you don't get to see a lot. There was a 959 there. There was 2 RSs there. I was really hoping to see an ST here, but I didn't. So I'm going to turn towards Car Week in Monterey.
We didn't have an allocation apparently.
Yeah, Timo told me that he goes, there'll be a couple at least at Monterey. So
Nice.
that's the car I'm currently obsessed with. I love the design changes that they made on that car. I love the fact that it's such limited quantity. I love the performance of that car. It's the lightest Carrera they've ever made. So yeah, I'm really obsessed with that car. I love the special editions.
I think the brand's so amazing that they can sell these cars and people have not seen them yet. For instance, the new GTS, with the hybrid technology, I talked to 3 people who have already ordered them. They weren't asking questions. They already ordered them.
Yeah.
They're like, I trust that it's going to be an awesome car, he said.
Well, the performance is mind-boggling. I've watched some videos and done a deep dive on that car. I think it's 2.1 seconds, 0 to 60.
That and the technology of the turbo, where it spins it up already, and you don't have to wait
get rid
for
of the lag.
No lag whatsoever.
That's another thing I asked Timo because I couldn't find a straight answer in any of the videos or anything that I asked. Because one of the electric motors spools up the turbo to eliminate that lag. The other is actually housed inside the PDK. And I was asking him, why is it in the transmission? And he said, basically, because there was nowhere else to put it. So it does provide boost. It's not operating the transmission at all. It's providing boost like the turbo is, but it's doing it.
Is that the powered flywheel?
I think it's probably the flywheel.
Yeah, the flywheel.
It's probably in place of the flywheel.
Yeah, I tell people, think F1, not Prius hybrid.
Yeah.
It's a whole different
Exactly.
technology, but it's still a turbocharged engine.
Yes.
So the fact they put an electric motor inside the turbocharger to spin it, getting it spun up already, so when you need the power, it's already up to speed. That's just brilliant.
Exactly.
An
There's the
MG
function of that one, yes. But then that second one that's inside the PDK, that was the one that I had questions about because I was like, is it somehow operating the transmission itself, helping it to shift smoother or things like that? But he said, no, it's just in there because of it's saving space. That's what we could find the space for.
And they say seamless. I can't wait to try one because they said it's not something that you're even going to feel.
There's a great video that actually Porsche produced, and at the very end of it, so they take you through the whole car, and at the very end of it, they have the new hybrid Porsche going up against last year's GTS. Mark Webber's driving last year's, and he gets blown away, of course, because all they're doing is just hitting the accelerator on a straight line. So it's not like Mark Webber's skills really came into play, but it was funny that they had him behind the
very
wheel.
clear who the winner is.
Yes. Yeah.
So did you get a chance to chat with Grant Larson or Tony Hatter to see?
I did. I actually sat at the table with Tony on Tuesday night. That was a lot of fun. They're both just so down to earth and such, funny guys and have a great sense of the humor and very approachable. Yeah. You don't really get who they are until you find out who they are. They just seem like very down to earth car guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you realize how high up they are in the Porsche echelon. It's pretty cool.
It's nice when you're talking to them because they're so high up, and one of them's actually retired and out of the quote unquote scene. That they pretty much tell you like it is. Like they're not really, they're like, what's anyone gonna do to me if I say too much?
Right.
NDAs be damned.
Yeah.
It's over.
But, I felt like I needed a stack of business cards because I kept on repeating as they would walk away, as they were talking to people, and I would walk up to the person. I said, "Did you know who you were talking to?" And they're like, "No." And I would say, "Google Grant Larson or Google Tony Hatter," and you're going to be pretty impressed.
Yeah.
But they make, like you said, they're very approachable. They don't say, "Hey, do you know who I am?" To them, it's just they're enthusiasts too. That's what always first struck me like such a positive note when I met them, because they drove Porsches. They had vintage Porsches. And I thought, here these guys are surrounded by these cars. You'd think they want to take a break, but
Yeah.
it's quite the opposite. They were just in love with the brand.
Well, one of the best moments this week came on Concours Day, where Grant's personal Boxster was in the competition.
Crazy, right?
And it's being judged.
And he was nervous.
He's nervous, exactly.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. It just goes to show you that he is a true car guy, because he just completely took off his designer hat. He put on his enthusiast hat. And it was pretty cool. And he ended up winning an award. So.
Yeah, he took the exact path almost every new Concours entrant, and that was a denial. He was like, "I don't need to win. I'm just doing this for fun. I don't really need a trophy." To realizing he may have a chance to win, and suddenly he was kept on running up to the to where he posted scores at to see if they had posted scores. And then when he got second, came the question, "Do I get a trophy?"
He blamed you for getting second. And then he was wondering whether or not he got.
But even prepping the car, I think he bought like one microfiber towel for everything, and then one spray bottle or something that was like all in one.
The original intention was to help a group of us to come just hang out, really just hang out, but to help him prep the car. And he says, "Well, the car's pretty good." I'm like, "Ooh, he really doesn't know what we look for."
I told him, I said, "It looks like you've had an Alaskan husky or something laying on your roof. There's so much lit." And I said, "Let me find a lit roller." And he's like, "What do you use that for?" I'm like, "To pick up the lit." And I showed it, and it was like I just showed him new technology. And I think somebody snapped a picture of him just rolling and watching the lit disappear.
How do I not know this?
New therapy.
Yeah,
right?
he was just amazed that this was a secret in cleaning.
I think he
up.
probably called back to Visoc and said, "Buy a box of lint rollers."
Exactly.
Before any delivery. Now, I've cracked the perception of you and Mopar and Porsche, but now I'm going to take it a step further and just pulverize the people that are listening and tell them that you had a very interesting first experience today with me.
And I did not realize it until I got out of the car after driving it. But today, I believe, and I'm racking my brain, I can't think of a time before where I'd actually driven a full electric car.
Oh, yeah.
I've been in them,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
but I've never driven a full electric car. And so Vu was good enough to let me sit and drive the Taycan today. And
Taycan Turbo.
The Taycan Turbo,
That's kind of key.
which, first of all, the aesthetics of that car, unbelievable. White exterior. What's the name of the color?
Oh, this
There's a
Black.
him it was black. Blackberry. I think it's Blackberry.
Blackberry
Is that the
interior.
official name? Is
I think
Blackberry?
it's Blackberry interior.
It's
So
like
a
an
dark
eggplant purple.
Awesome.
Oh, gorgeous car. The technology in it is phenomenal. So Vu punched it when I was a passenger. Of course, the head.
I
goes
drove
back.
I merged safely.
He merged safely.
I merged safely onto the highway. I checked.
And then punched
all
it.
blind spots. No, it was.
We went for a test drive.
It's incredible. It's incredible. The acceleration, the power band, the smoothness,
The handling.
handling.
Yeah.
So I'm still not like sold or converted, or if someone were to give me one, I would definitely take it.
We said Porsche was listening, but they don't listen to people like
Hint.
It's
No,
not a genie bottle.
yeah.
but yeah, man, and also the design of the new Mecum electric is fantastic. There's a few of them here that I've seen. Gorgeous, gorgeous cars. I drove a Mecum GTS back in, I want to say it was 2019. I had one. I leased one for a year. Amazing car. The ergonomics of Porsche are top notch. I've never been in a better ergonomic car. So yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed, and I'm looking over the side at the EV cam.
And here's the thing. Just like we said earlier, you don't have to just drive Mopars. You
Right.
don't have to just drive Porsche.
Right.
it's kind of a use case. If
Yeah.
you want something rookish, loud with a big cam and smell cam too, you can do that, and we
Yeah.
all enjoy that. But there's a place for this
Absolutely.
quiet, sort
Yeah.
of serene but yet exciting power. And if you have a place to plug it in every day and know that you have a full battery charge, man,
Speaking of which, you got to see fully charged Vu.
Yes.
Oh.
We got to see
Scraping the sides of the
running
tank.
out the
Vu.
electricity Vu
Right.
because he was
range
getting
anxiety.
he was getting
Range
nervous.
anxiety Vu.
Every
Rav.
mile we were getting an update that we were losing. We're up, we're down, we're up, we're down.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. Manny is the type of person, when we go on a trip, I get to the airport within a reasonable time. Maybe I'm half an hour to 45 minutes before we board the plane. Very reasonable. Get a cup of coffee, relax, whatever. There have been times while I've actually been seated on the plane, buckled my belt because there's nobody that can sit next to me, and Mister is still in the parking garage of the airport. So
I still make the plane.
you have missed once. Only once, though, I think.
No, I didn't miss it.
He's blocked that out of his
He's
mind.
blocked
by
out. He
now.
doesn't remember. He doesn't remember. But anyways, what I'm getting at is, so we left the hotel here with 120 or something miles. Anyways, once we went to go watch the PCA members do Talladega and do laps and stuff like that. And so leaving Talladega, I knew Buc-ee's, where there's a good brisket sandwich, but then also high voltage or high amperage
Level 3.
charging stations, level 3 charging stations. It was 30 miles away. So in my mind, I need a little comfort cushion there. 40 miles would be key. And that range anxiety, I was just hoping that please let this be very accurate. And as we were driving along, when we left, we had what, a
30. It was like 38 miles of range and 34 miles away.
Right.
And when we 4 miles of buffer, and we
4
got
miles
there,
of
we had
buffer?
6 miles. So it did.
The car regens.
Yeah.
And I used to have a Civic hybrid, so I got into the hyper miling thing to kind of add mileage. So I gingerly drove back to Buc-ee's, and we actually increased the range.
2 miles.
By
had,
2
or
miles.
The buffer was 2 miles.
You guys also had 4 full-size humans in the car,
Yeah,
too.
and camera equipment
and gear. And we rolled up to the first charging station was 7 miles. So kudos to Porsche. It is accurate. Although I think once you get to 10 miles, the dash lights up. Plug in
It's
immediately.
actually 5 miles because I took a picture of it.
Was it 5 miles?
And I sent it to Laura and Melanie, and I said, hey, stay tuned because we may need you to bring a couple 9-volt batteries to get us home.
We plugged in with
He's
3% left.
He's always like, don't worry about it. But then when
It's
the,
like when the
when
light
the stuff
comes
hits
on.
the fan, he's like, uh-oh, maybe I was wrong. And he was starting to sweat.
And we plugged into Electrify America, 3% left, and I would say, 20 minutes, and it was at 85%.
Wow.
First, we got scared because we went to the Mercedes chargers.
Because I heard that was faster.
It wouldn't take our credit cards.
Oh.
And then the other one wouldn't
They
take
knew
a
you were
credit card.
Porsche
I can
guys.
see the sweat forming on his forehead.
And I'm like, oh man, if none of these work, that means everybody's over at the other one. So we're gonna have to sit there and wait. Luckily, it was 2 open.
Then it didn't work either.
But then my car didn't work. So I guess
Sounds like it's a
I
VU
did
problem.
Get paid. I did get paid.
I told us that today's
I did
payday.
get paid, but shout out to Southwest Visa because they're like, why you've never done this type of charge before? So they put a hold on it, so I had to
Wow.
and get it lifted. But the supercharging station, I mean, we went in to have the brisket sandwich and to watch Buc-ee's audience or whatever customers. It was pretty interesting. By the time we walked out, we were at 90% full. 90%
Yeah,
full.
91 or 92, I think.
Nice.
So it was good.
Nice.
So
30 minutes.
That was our EV experience today. But again, you don't you don't have to choose one or the other and just live
True.
with it. I mean,
True.
for daily driving, I totally see how you could have fun with an EV. And if do a long trip and you want to, comfortable and not worry about charging stations, and either have or rent a Suburban. That's what my parents used to do.
Yeah.
Like we had the efficient cars for daily, and the weekends we had the 3/4 ton Suburban and did all the trips in that.
How much did the lack of sound bother you?
It didn't bother me. The tire noise on the freeway was pretty loud, but not annoyingly loud.
You hear the other cars.
Yeah, the lack of anything didn't bother me, and the awareness of the acceleration really pleased me. So it's just that, because you keep waiting for a shift point. I mean, you've only driven combustible engines like I have. You're waiting for that shift point, and you're also waiting for when you let off the accelerator for that little bit of negative G-force, and that wasn't present either.
Yeah.
It just kind of
Just
almost
coasts,
keeps
yeah.
going. Yeah. So very impressive. I love the style of the Taycan. I mean, it's such a beautiful car. And those wheels on it, which we were very aware of. We did not.
Why
did not nick
stay
a
away
single
from all
wheel.
those curves?
Exactly. Yeah. Stay away from dips.
Yeah.
Everything,
Yeah.
anything that could possibly injure those wheels, because they are amazing.
Hopefully we've spoiled you. Hopefully,
Yeah.
that this sets a pretty high bar in the EV world for you. But this is new for all of us, and the handling, the power.
But I love also that they kept the trim levels. They kept the S and the GTS and the turbo. I mean, there is no turbo, obviously, because it's an electric engine. But the fact that they kept that name for the highest trim level is very Porsche
Makes a lot of sense.
and very cool. It makes
Really
sense.
does.
I get
Exactly.
it, but I don't like the fact that I have to explain it to non-Porsche people, right?
Meh.
But if you know, you know.
Right. Exactly. If you
exactly.
know.
So anything about Parade last year or this year that kind of jumps out to your mind when you go back to the non-Porsche world and they go, where have you been? And I was with over 1,000 Porsche heads. And, how do you explain it? What do you?
I mean, I don't feel like I have to. It's just, I know that I could never, it's like if someone's never eaten ice cream before. Like, how can you explain to them how amazing ice cream is if they've
Just
never
try
had
it,
ice cream
right?
before? Just try it. Exactly. But I'm spoiled. It's an immersion program, and it's fun because, I happen to think that I know. But I know a lot about the brand. I know the little details and things like that. But, hanging with guys like Manny, I'm always a sponging for information. And I hear these other guys talking about their cars. For instance, there was a guy in the 356 restoration class who won an award. His first name is Joe. I don't know who his last name is. He's from Florida. It was the Carrera 2, the 356 Carrera 2.
That
Yeah.
car. That was probably the second most valuable car we had here.
But that shows the level of competition.
Yeah.
Because if you looked at that car, it looked flawless.
Yeah. And one of the details is what I'm talking about. And would you say the number one valuable car then was the 904?
Yeah.
And then the Carrera 2? Okay.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, his Carrera 2 was just randomly parked in the parking lot. Till I walked by it, I was like, this is unbelievable. This car is here right
That
now.
would scare me.
But on the inside of the glove box, there was these kind of elastic straps strapping some things down.
Yeah.
The middle item was a little bottle of what looked like glue or nail polish. And I was like, what is that? He said, it's glycerin. And so what they would do was when the weather was cold, they would brush the glycerin on the weather stripping around the windows and also in the door lock, so the door lock wouldn't freeze and the rubber weather stripping wouldn't crack. And it was amazing.
Yeah,
and that level of detail and the proper bottle of glycerin.
Right.
And then next to that was a little box that looked like a matchbox that was filled with fuses. That was, the fuses in particular for the 356. So that's the kind of detail that you see here at Porsche, and it really gives you an idea of how proud and detail-oriented people are with their Porsches. And so, I love seeing stuff like that. I'm like a total nerd for that kind of stuff. And,
Yeah, you walk around the concours. It's not just looking at clean vehicles. You're learning about a story about a father and son. You're learning about what a perfect example, Carrera 2 356 should or should not have. And you also learn from the cars that some people go, why did they do that? And you learn things that wheel might not be the proper fit. And you're not saying anything negative about the car, but you just learn so much education to be had in a concours. Again, it's not just about cleanliness.
Right. No, and it's also a history lesson too. That 77 conversion roof.
Yeah.
You get a glimpse back into history. I mean, if people know a little bit about roof, they may just know the cars that Roof themselves are manufacturing now.
Sure.
But you go back to the very beginning. I think that was the first year that Roof started converting.
I didn't know about
911s.
that car.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah.
He told me about it. I Googled it to see
Right.
if it was true.
Yeah.
Look how long
I said
he's been.
we'll do a video, and a lot of times people have heard stories third or fourth time, and sometimes the stories are skewed. So after he told me, I looked it up, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know Roof made non-turbo models.
Right.
And,
Right.
and then everything he said was accurate. So that's why I told Damon. I said we're going to do this car because it's I've never seen one.
Yeah.
And they're pretty rare, and people are probably getting a kick out of it.
Yeah.
The story of that car was cool. Parked in a driveway of the dude's neighbor for 20 years and didn't know what he had.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, one of only 50, I think.
Yeah,
that were
one of
imported
50,
in that
yeah.
year. So you get to see things like that. The 904, obviously.
Yeah.
Is, I mean, always.
And the butcher's 350.
Yeah, the 356 that was stored in the homemade meat locker with the refrigerator doors.
That was one of your neighbors, and you're like, bro, what's in the meat
Yeah,
locker?
yeah.
yeah, it was like let's repurpose the dungeon. So
Yeah, exactly. It's either Buffalo Bill or a guy who loves his 356
Yeah.
Speedster.
I gotta say, and I love learning new. And I tell people, you always are learning stuff about Porsche. No one knows everything. But Tony Hatter, in his presentation during Tech Tactics, which is the whole day of tech sessions that we do, I think taught everyone in the room something, because you can see everyone's eyes go, huh. And so he was telling us about his career. That was his topic. And he just finished telling us about the Carrera GT, how he did that. And his next assignment was restoring an organ. Porsche had volunteered to contribute to the restoration of this famous organ in Germany. And so he's having pictures of the organ. And, of course, I can't get my mind wrapped out of the fact that this guy just designed the Carrera GT, this iconic supercar. And as a thank you, Porsche says, hey, do the organ for us next. But, in between, as he was presenting, showing us pictures, and he goes, here's the side view. And he goes, and you can see all the stops. He goes, so we pulled all the stops out. And he pauses. He goes, well, that's where that phrase comes from.
Pulling out all the stops.
Stops means this really big organ that... You remember how many pipes it had, Damon? It was like thousands
8,000 pipes.
8,000 pipes.
8,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's more than Home Depot has. Just pulling all these pipes out. And he said that means pull the stops out of the pipes. And everyone looked at each other like, that's why they use that term,
Yeah.
pull out the stops. So,
and they put 5 gauges on it just to have that little Porsche connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, cool.
So, speaking of getting schooled, I heard you got schooled at autocross.
Oh God!
You know how long I was waiting for that?
It's way too easy. Good way to go for the low-hanging fruit, Boo.
shifting quicker than a GT3.
Nice. You like that? You like that?
Well, by the way, I fully expected to get schooled
course we
because
all-
Sabre
we all
was
get schooled.
driving. Let me tell you,
Sabre Cook.
She would have schooled Boo like,
I mean, I think if I had gone first, I would have been pretty happy with my lap times. I was in the low 50s. I think my best one was like 52.9 or something. So I'm like, okay, I
The
can.
Carrera T?
Yes.
Nice.
And that was with I was holding back a little bit just because I
what we all say.
I didn't want
It's not
to.
your car.
It's not my car.
It's not, you're not used to
had
it.
you autocross before?
Yes. Yeah, I autocross at Radford, but that's in a 5,000-pound Hellcat, so this was a much different experience.
Yes.
But you got a book of excuses, too.
Yo, yeah. No,
We
I'm
all
sitting
do.
on it right now. That's how I'm this high up. She went first, and just right out of the gates, she just crushed. She beat 50. She broke 50 on every single. Is that the world's smallest violin?
Wow.
Who's going to play me a tune?
Oh man!
There
Does
you
he
go.
really
Go
have
ahead.
that? What?
He's been
Where do
waiting
you
for
even
this.
buy
Oh,
that?
my
Wait,
God.
How many 122 podcasts he's been waiting?
Wow.
When do I bring this up?
Wow, there you go.
He had to
Those of you
pack that.
listening,
He had to pack that.
Yeah, I have the
He
world's
is
smallest
playing
violin.
the world's smallest violin for me
So,
right now.
so how much did she beat you by?
She had me by 4 seconds on every lap. I mean, her best lap time was 49.1 or 2, I think, and that was her warm up lap. She broke. She got 50.1 or something like that.
Reconnaissance lap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Take it easy and learn the
It's unbelievable how much further down the track a professional driver is looking, because she just sent it from the very start. Like, it was unbelievable. Like, taking off from the start line to that first cone turn in, she had it, maxed. So it's amazing to be the passenger with a professional driver. And, I've done laps at Laguna with Bruce Canepa in his 935 and also in a race prepared for GT.
Yeah.
And so, I know what it feels like. You get a certain feeling when you know that someone has complete control of the car.
sure.
And that's the feeling that I got when I was riding with Sabre. Now, when
treat.
yeah, amazing. And then when I got behind the car, I put my cone killer hat on. I think I only had one
There you
clean
go. Feel
lap.
free to use it.
But it was a joy.
Yeah.
There you go.
And the Carrera T is quite a car.
I got to give a shout out to Paul Kudra, our autocross chair. This year he did a what's it called, the Hoffman Challenge.
Yeah.
Oh,
where,
that's so
they-
cool.
They took.
I hope we do that every year.
They took the top drivers. Was it 10
Yeah,
drivers?
top 30.
Top 30 drivers in their class, or was it by time top 30?
Yeah, so top 30 times overall, and then, so each class a top driver,
Yeah.
and they're not 30 classes, so after that they go by overall time, and they had 2 Mecum GTSs, 2 Carrera Ts, and 2 Taycan Turbos, I believe, and all the drivers, it was like an elimination round, and they would each drive those 2 cars, and at the end, whoever had the lowest time after adding up all 3 runs won the cup.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
we're still waiting to find out who won.
So that's the ultimate. Like you can't make the excuse that it was your car.
Yeah.
Because you're
Right.
basically driving
On the same car now.
Same car.
I would
I hope
think
we
it
do
would
it.
be a little tougher to do it in a Taycan just because it's a little longer vehicle, so you really have to be aware of the cones.
long
Yeah.
wheelbase.
Mhm. Yeah.
Did we give congratulations to Mr. Lowney yet? Have we done that publicly?
Oh, what?
No.
So, because we're the minions of Parade and we're working in the meetings and such, we don't.
You're
always-
staying at the Westin, not at the the other hotel.
We
have Paradise.
Yeah, I was.
feel free to pass it around.
We minions. Go ahead.
So it's not a guarantee that we get to participate in all of the activities. And the one activity probably out of the whole week that Damon hopes to be able to participate in is an autocross. And and when he or one of us run an autocross, it's never to race against the members, but it's just see what our time is.
Yep.
And he went out there, and I will say I didn't get to watch it, but you pretty much sent it, my friend.
Yeah, 49.4.
40.
But put that in perspective, because people don't know what 49.4 means. That means
I was 0.3 behind Sabre.
Yeah.
yeah.
Really
Fourth
nice.
fastest overall, right?
Yeah, 4th fastest
That's
overall.
right. And which car were you driving?
2007 Cayman 2.7.
Slightly modified.
But it has a lot of suspension.
Yeah.
A lot of suspension
And
motor.
mid-engine.
Mid-engine.
Yep.
Which on the autocross track,
Yeah,
And I'll give this
counts
the
for a
best.
little bit. Yeah. You're supposed to play it for me, though. Don't give it back to me. You're supposed to
No,
play it for
but
me.
they were I have to be clear. They were exhibition runs. I didn't sign up, and I was
But
just
you did sign the
hoping.
waivers.
I did sign the waivers and everything, but all the tech tactic, really busy week. But fortunately, I had a little break. So,
Nice. And do you have experience at autocross?
oh, I autocross so much.
Okay.
It's not even funny.
Gotcha. Well, there you go.
Yeah, the 3 of us would be chasing each other. I'll play it for myself now. I'll play it for myself. The 3 of us, we were pretty competitive and at local autocross.
Yeah.
And then he started to dig into a suspension, and I think at this point I'm just gonna go straight to slicks. It's like I don't know that I can ever get.
Yeah, right.
Let's be honest here. All the great drivers can feel like a 2 pound, not even 1 pound difference in tire pressure. That's how sensitive they are.
Oh, no. I
This
know
guy
where
here is running with a broken sway bar in his rear, so he has no sway bar in the rear, and his
You
wheel
couldn't
is
feel
fucking
that,
up in the
though?
air.
No,
And-
I felt it.
but he didn't think it was
Handles
anything serious
great.
enough. He thought it was just tire pressure, worn tires.
While the good driver can adjust to the changing conditions
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There we go.
of his or her vehicle. And so I do remember hearing a snap of some sort, and I thought I hit a cone on that run, and this was months ago. And that would explain why, like, the next autocross, I wasn't, like, that happy with the car, but I just kind of pushed through it, and then I just learned to drive with that new suspension.
You're still like moving pretty quick.
Yeah.
Which is the fun
And
part.
the thing is, if I could understand if after something that happened and I dropped down to, like, 15th, 20th place or something like that because my car doesn't handle right. But it actually handles
Yeah,
pretty good.
Still handled well.
Still handles pretty good.
So the verdict's not out how you're going to drive with a sway bar now.
I know.
That's what-
I know.
You have to
Someone
readjust.
unlearn whatever I learned with the
Right.
broken sway
Yeah.
bar.
Yeah. Gotta run what you brung.
Yep.
Let's talk about, you spent a lot of time with our juniors, which I really appreciate because they are the future of PCA. And maybe if you would share with those that have little ones and are considering coming out to either a Porsche Parade, which is definitely kid-friendly, family-friendly, but other maybe even regional or zone events, what advice or what would you like to share with them?
Well, the love of the car is so family oriented because I can remember from my earliest childhood being obsessed with cars. Didn't matter really what kind of car it was. Turns out it was Porsche because that's the kind of car my dad had. But I always loved cars. I just liked being around them. I liked touching them. I liked sitting in them. And my daughter, who's 2, is the same way. I mean, she loves to bang on the garage door and she goes, car. And she likes to sit in my 911 because it's kind of her size,
Right.
Yeah. But here at Parade, there's a great junior program. There's an entire room of activities. There's activities throughout the week that are geared just for juniors. At the zone event, same thing. So, yeah, I encourage people to bring their kids if they're coming to a Porsche Parade, especially because they're not going to be the only ones. There's other kids that they'll be able to interact with of various ages. And it's great to get them started early.
Yeah, one of my favorite events that we really ramped up after, I think, 2007 San Diego was the kids and big kids remote control car program. And in between meetings, I ran out and put some of my hot laps down.
I was going to say, when you say big kids, you mean adults.
Yeah, exactly.
And you had to separate it because the kids were beating the adults. That's why they separated.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. We have like 3 different classes just to make sure that it evens out. But to see these grade schoolers, so I would say they're probably anywhere between 2nd, 3rd grade and middle schoolers, taking the microphone and starting to, they take turns announcing the winners or the times, and they're just having the time of their life. And I know this is putting that little seed in the back of their head that when they grow up, like, they're not going to want to get away from this. And it's the Porsche brand, it's PCA that gave this to them growing up. Just as you're talking about your dad and his car. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to plant these seeds, no matter if it's at a Porsche Parade or if it's a local region event, a zone event. That's our future, and I love that PCA thinks about that. And shout out to Karen Cooper for really formalizing that with the PCA Juniors program. And I think we're close to 5,000 PCA Juniors within PCA, which means, you can register your child, grandchild, niece, or nephew in PCA, and they get PCA swag and all that stuff.
Well, in the region of the year, Space Coast region, who is 2024 region of the year, increased their junior membership in 2023 by 19%. I thought that was so great because they're really concentrating on the future of the club.
And for Parade, I can attest that because my kids grew up in PCA and in particular Parade, and they would start planning 3 to 4 months ahead of time because they had met other kids the Parade prior and they kept in touch. And then as they started getting closer, they'd be asking, when do you get in? What hotel are you staying at? And if somebody got there earlier than the other, they would say, hey, I checked out such and such room, and we should go to this place for ice cream. And it's something that they look forward to. And they only see each other once a year. But my wife just told me that the kids who are now in their late 20s all want to go to Parade, and the next time it comes to the East Coast, they said they want to come because they have great memories of Parade. So it's not so for people listening to this, it's not a guy's week.
Yeah.
It's definitely a
Family.
full family.
Yep.
Spouses come. My wife, we don't even have a Porsche here, but she's been busy as heck. Meeting up with old friends, and I don't have to worry about her. She's going to be bored because, as we speak right now, she's sightseeing somewhere in the mountains with a friend from the Porsche Club.
Absolutely.
Female friend, I got her.
Manny's feeling threatened.
Yeah, right. 32 years of marriage, and gotta keep it that way.
Yeah. All right, so we've got, time is flying when you're having fun. Let's want to make sure to remind folks, if you're enjoying the episode, give us that like. If you want to say a couple things to Chris or any of us, be sure to comment. And, of course, if you're watching on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe and help us get close to that 100K subscriber level. Any videos you want to talk about, Damon?
Yeah, watch the Concours video that Manny and Chris did at the Concours. I was one of those people where I knew you owned a Porsche. I'm like, how deep does he go with Porsche? And, one take with every single one. I think one color, you misspoke a color.
That's right.
And that was it. And so super impressive. Learn a lot about 15 different Porsches from the Concours that day. Head to our YouTube channel. We also have several videos coming up. I know this is sort of a scatter shot here, but 911 SC guide with Nathan Mers. We have a 911 SC pre-purchase inspection with Nathan Mers as well, and a whole bunch more. So
we recorded Tech Tactics, wasn't live because of technology issues, but it was filmed just as it is on a regular Tech Tactics Live Parade. What's my Porsche worth?
Yep.
And it's
8 of them.
Some cool Porsches that we feature, with Nathan Mers being moderated by Vu.
Yeah. When you were on stage with Sabre, you were talking about sim racing. I don't know if you took a couple of laps.
I did.
You did?
Did not go well.
Here you go. Right back at you.
No, I don't need that. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just reporting to you how it went.
I'm reporting back. It did not go well.
Did Sabre beat you there too?
Oh, of course.
Well, she uses that as a tool for racing, right?
I mean,
so
this is Reese making this whole podcast.
It's amazing.
This
Exactly.
may have been career limiting.
Yeah.
No, people need to know that it's real.
How cool sim racing, that what they offered, PCA offered for the adults and the kids, and that whole room was packed all week long. So
Yeah,
shout out
SimWorks did a great job of setting that all up, and they had the Barber track ready to go. So very, very cool. I've been in some very sophisticated sim machines, and these are near the top.
Yeah, so shout out to Doug Atkinson, Jim Hemmick for setting that up in the juniors chair. That is just one of the many things that kids and adults can do at Parade. So pretty cool. But if you missed that out and you weren't at Parade to do that, you can just head over to PCASimRacing.com and join other PCA sim racers and check out Barber or any other tracks. I think we have the 24 hours race coming up soon that you could sign up for as well. Treffin at Sea, the folks, Princess Cruise has been at Parade in full force. We're having a lot of fun. In fact, we're going to be partying with them later this evening. We have well over 850 people that will be going to Alaska with us. I think there's a handful of rooms. By the time you listen to this, there might not be any left. But don't worry. It's not going to be the last Treffin at Sea for PCA. We will announce as soon as we can where we'll be going in 2025. So stay tuned for that.
Is it a hint?
Nope.
What does it rhyme with?
At sea.
Oh gosh.
The truth of it is I don't know.
Have they decided?
No, there are
Oh,
options.
okay.
That's why I can't say it. There are options. So we're still thinking about that. Let's see what else we wanted to make sure we talk about. Do we talk about Monterey yet?
No.
Monterey. So Monterey is your laptop I'm not used to. So Monterey Works Reunion August 16th. Registration is already opened. Again, I think judge registration is very tight. We've got plenty of corral. Keep in mind on August 17th with the corral over at Mecum Auctions, we'll start putting out information on that as well. And be sure, if you haven't subscribed to our newsletters, Damon, you want to say the 3 newsletters you can subscribe to?
Yeah, we have Mark Fresh News, which is all about the Porsche market and things to help you choose what Porsche or which Porsche might be the best for you. And hopefully you join the club. If you buy a Porsche, we have Test Drive News. So if you want the Porsche Panorama magazine and the newsletter Test Drive, sign up for that program and you can get a bunch of different articles about various different Porsches, including the 4-doors. And then, of course, E-Brake News is our big newsletter. It goes out weekly and reaches about 130,000 Porsche enthusiasts. And we would love for you to sign up to that newsletter as well. Stay up to date on the news.
And I want to thank everyone at Parade who have been coming up to the 3 of us and telling us how much they enjoy our videos, our podcast. Yeah. Thank you all. It means a lot to us.
It does.
And we have fun, obviously, doing it, but knowing that you enjoy it, hearing your significant other say, I recognize that voice, or, he listens to you religiously.
I listen to you guys to fall asleep.
Yeah. That's how I fall asleep. So thank you for your support. I have to make sure and share with you, if you're looking for PCA Insider merch, head over to PCA's web store and you can get the Insider bottle, the mug, and T-shirts. And if you want some decals to display your support of the show, just send us an email at podcast@pca.org. Anything else,
I
gentlemen?
think I know it's understood, but still worth a shout out to all the volunteers who made Parade happen,
absolutely.
which is falls into hundreds. But Jack Stevenson is the head of Parade's the parade chair, so he leads them all. Phenomenal parade. Everyone is talking about how great Birmingham was, and I guess everyone was pleasantly surprised. It does take a village to put on an event this big and this seamless. I was glad we were glad to see Jack and his wife at Buc-ee's having a little bit of free downtime, not in a meeting all the time. But when you come to Parade, realize that the vast majority of this is all done by volunteers.
And I think Jeff Baggett with Classic Car Motoring put it in a very interesting way. He and his staff have been so supportive of Porsche Parade. And so, some of the volunteers who were trying to arrange things were like, well, can we do this? Or how much would you charge for this? Or how much would you charge for that? And Jeff said, you know what? No charge. And then they go, so how come? He's like, I just want to do it for PCA and the PCA members. And I appreciate it. I want them to, some people have a certain perception of Birmingham, Alabama. And I wanted to welcome them with open arms. And I have to say, everyone that I've encountered here have been so hospitable and welcoming. But at the end of it, he said, I want them to know how wonderful we are, but not so much that they'll move here, because I really appreciate
Visit Birmingham. Visit Birmingham,
yeah,
for sure.
What's their traffic? Like 7 cars? They said there's a lot of traffic in the morning if you leave early. 7 cars.
Right. So I thought that was pretty funny. But that's the personality of Birmingham, and I truly appreciate everything that the city had to offer us. So with that, if you have a Porsche and you haven't joined PCA, what the heck are you waiting for? Grab that VIN, head over to PCA.org and get set up. If you're looking for a Porsche, we have the test drive program, again, PCA.org. Remember to follow our podcast Instagram page, behind the scenes photos, videos, Porsche Club Insider, all one word. You can send us a message at podcast@pca.org. And with that, Chris, thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you at Monterey and just having future adventures. I'm glad today's afternoon adventure did not land us in cuffs.
We came through unscathed.
Until next time, everyone, stay safe and catch you down the road.